For nearly 20 years, Thomas Hale lived alone. His farmhouse sat at the edge of the Arizona frontier, surrounded by dry fields, broken fences, and memories no one came looking for. His wife had died young. His children never survived infancy. The land stayed, but joy did not. People in nearby towns called him the quiet farmer, the man who spoke little, worked hard, and asked nothing of anyone. One dusty afternoon, Thomas rode into town for supplies. He hadn't planned to stay long. He never did. But fate had other plans. Near the old livestock yard, a small crowd had gathered. Thomas slowed his horse when he heard laughter, cruel, careless laughter. In the center stood an auctioneer, shouting prices like he was selling cattle. Beside him stood a woman, Apache, thin, silent. Her wrists weren't tied, but her eyes carried a deeper kind of captivity. She stood straight, proud despite the dirt on her dress, despite the way men stared as if she were an object instead of a person. "This is the last one," the auctioneer shouted. No family left. No tribe to take her back. The words cut Thomas deeper than he expected. He dismounted without thinking. "Stop this," Thomas said quietly. The auctioneer laughed. "That's not how the frontier works, farmer." Thomas looked at the woman. "Do you understand what's happening here?" he asked gently. She nodded once. "Yes." "Do you want to be here?" Her answer came firm and clear. "No." That was enough. Thomas placed his money on the table. Every dollar he had brought for seed and tools. The auctioneer scooped it up greedily, already calling for the next item. Thomas turned back to the woman. "You're free to go wherever you choose," he said. "If you want safe passage away from this place, I'll help." She studied him carefully. Then she spoke. "My name is Ayanna. I have nowhere left to go." Thomas felt the weight of her words. "Then," he said slowly, "you can stay on my land until you decide otherwise. No debts, no ownership, just shelter." Ayanna hesitated, then nodded. As they rode away from the town together, whispers followed them like dust in the wind. The farmer who lived alone had made a choice no one understood. And neither of them yet knew that this meeting, born of loneliness and injustice, was the beginning of something neither had been searching for, but both desperately needed. The ride to Thomas Hale's farm was long and quiet. The sun dipped low, painting the desert in gold and crimson. But neither Thomas nor Ayanna spoke. Silence, however, was not uncomfortable, it was cautious. Both carried wounds shaped by years of loss. When they reached the farmhouse, Ayanna studied it carefully. The place was modest, one-story, weather-worn, surrounded by open land and distant hills. No fences kept her in. No locks barred her path. Thomas noticed her watching. "You're free to leave any time," he said. "I won't stop you." Ayanna nodded. "I believe you." That night, Thomas prepared food and placed it on the table, then stepped back. He waited until Ayanna sat before he took his own seat. She noticed. "You act like a guest in your own home," she said quietly. "I know what it feels like to have choices taken," Thomas replied. "I won't do that to you." Days passed. Ayanna chose to stay. She helped in the fields, not because she was asked, but because she wished to contribute. Thomas accepted the help but never demanded it. When work was done, they shared meals in easy silence. The town, however, did not forget. One afternoon, two men rode up to the farm. Their eyes lingered too long on Ayanna. "She belongs to the auction," one of them sneered. Ayanna stiffened. Thomas stepped forward. "She belongs to herself." The men laughed until Thomas rested his hand on his rifle, not in threat but in warning. "You're not welcome here," he said. They left, but the message was clear. The frontier was watching. That evening, Ayanna spoke of her past. Her family lost to war. Her people scattered. Her survival built on endurance rather than hope. Thomas listened without interruption. "I don't want pity," she said. "You won't get it," Thomas replied. "Only respect." Something shifted then. Trust, not yet friendship, took root. Weeks later, a storm struck. The wind tore at the fields and part of the roof collapsed. Thomas worked through the night to repair it, refusing help. At dawn, Ayanna brought him water. "You don't have to carry everything alone." Thomas looked at her exhausted, and for the first time in years, allowed someone to stand beside him. Not as property, not as obligation, but as a choice. And on the open land where loneliness once ruled, something fragile began to grow. Slowly, carefully, and on equal ground. Winter came early that year. Cold winds swept across the land and the fields rested under a pale sky. Thomas worked harder than ever, preparing the farm for months of isolation. Ayana watched closely, not as someone dependent, but as someone learning what it meant to build a future instead of merely surviving. One morning she surprised him. "I want to help make decisions," she said. "Not just work." Thomas nodded immediately. "Then we decide together." They planned the planting, the repairs, the trading routes. Ayana's knowledge of the land, passed down through generations, saved crops. Thomas had nearly given up on. Slowly the farm began to thrive again. But peace on the frontier never lasted. One evening a government patrol arrived. Their leader dismounted, scanning the land with sharp eyes. "We're relocating natives to reservations," he announced. "Any Apache found outside will be taken." Ayana's spine stiffened. Thomas stepped forward. "She's not a prisoner. She lives here by choice." The officer smirked. "Choice doesn't count anymore." That night Ayana didn't sleep. At dawn she packed her things. "I won't bring danger to you," she said. "I've lived my whole life being chased." Thomas felt the old loneliness claw back into his chest. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "But if you leave, let it be because you choose to." She looked at him for a long time. "I choose to stay," she said finally, "and face what comes." When the patrol returned days later, they didn't find fear. They found a woman standing firm on her land and a farmer standing beside her. Thomas presented legal papers, proof of residency, and witnesses from town, who had come to respect the quiet farm that fed many during hard months. The patrol hesitated, then rode away. Afterward, the land felt different. Not safer, stronger. That night, as snow fell softly, Ayana spoke by the fire. "In my culture, partnership is earned through time, not words." Thomas nodded. "That's the only kind I believe in." Months passed. The farm prospered. Laughter returned. The silence that once felt empty now felt peaceful. One evening, Ayana placed a handmade bracelet on the table between them. "This is not gratitude," she said. "It is choice." Thomas swallowed hard. "Then I accept it with honor." What grew between them was not rescue or obligation. It was companionship, respect, and a future chosen freely. And on land that once knew only loneliness, a home was finally born.